Hello, ladies and gentlemen, Captain Shaq here, and welcome back to Stellaris. It has been a minute since we played here on the channel. Paradox sent me a message saying, hey Shaq, do you want to check out the newest expansion DLC that we've got coming out? And of course, with every one of those, we get a big update. This is the 3.01 Dick update, named after a science fiction author, I'm pretty sure. So Stellaris is getting the Nemesis DLC. Now, I've been playing a bit almost all day today, trying to figure out some of the mechanics and figure out what's being added that's new and interesting. And there's some cool stuff in here. The best thing has to be, maybe the second best thing has to be the spy network, but let's load up my save so far. Now, when I started out, let me go to new game first. I was wondering, okay, which faction should we play as to try it out? And because of one of the ways that the campaign can now go, I decided to go United Nations of Earth. So we're playing, the democracy, the beacon of democracy. You're xenophile, you're making friends with your neighbors, hopefully, if they're willing, and start making those alliances and actually play the diplomacy role. And that was for a particular reason, and I will load up my save so far and show you what we've got. So there we are, test 4, loaded up. Now, the Nemesis update comes with quite a few new features, and a lot of them are fairly late game, but the one that I'm enjoying that really changes how things are played, at least from my perspective, has to be, and here's what the map looks like. I've been slowly making first contact with everybody. The one that I have to say is the coolest is probably the... I just finished a war down here, I just claimed all this territory. Has to be with my angry neighbors to the south, the squid heads. The Confederation of Gur. I have been spying on them since day one. Because there's an espionage system. Now, I don't have a lot of the cool options yet that I've seen in the developer like trailers and stuff, but I have been able to continually send out, right now I've got an operative already there, gathering intelligence for us over and over again. And the reason that I need that is because we no longer get, you can actually see I've got medium intel levels now on their military, which is fairly new. We no longer get that information freely. The game doesn't just hand it to us and say, okay, well, here's where they are technologically compared to you. Here's where they are militarily, you know, how big their fleets are and all that. I do have like the classic way of gathering intelligence, which is having a few listening posts on some of my space stations. This is actually one of my newest claimed space stations, but some of them, which it wouldn't be this one because this is the one I just captured, but some of my space stations actually have those listening posts. That's the way you always got intel before. You couldn't really, well, you couldn't build spy networks, and now you can. It's pretty sweet. There's even buildings for it. Some of the buildings in the research that I've gotten is like encryption. If I go under my research, actually, I might be researching it right now. Nah, I finished it already. But I've researched like 2 or 3 levels of encryption, which means it's harder for enemy spies to gather intel on my Galactic Empire here, the United Nations of Earth. Now, the reason that I chose United Nations of Earth, and probably the coolest thing, is that with the new, let me click this, the new Galactic community, you can, well, join the Galactic community for one thing, and then start voting on things. You can actually go to the Senate floor. They have all these proposals that are queued, and we're all gonna vote on what we think should happen. And it will change the value of various, like, kind of changes the ranking a bit. Changes how some things operate. Guardian Angels Act, for instance, to give you an example, all right? The soldiers that dedicated their lives to keeping our planet safe should be recognized and honored. Diplomatic weight from fleet power drops by 20%. And that's going to change how, you know, you can, well, deal with diplomacy and whatnot. Also increases Defense Army morale by 15%. So that means all your soldiers will fight more. So if you're doing a lot of ground invasions, obviously this might be the way that you want to go. Now, you can double down. Let's do collective waste management. I think this is the one that I was, let's see, was there one I was already voting against? A lot of these I'm just holding back on. And then the big one already passed yesterday. Let's see. We can support, oppose, abstain, or call in a favor. You have no favors available. I haven't gained any favors, but let's see. Diplomatic weight from economy plus 20%. Yeah, we might get a benefit out of that. Maybe. Bureaucracy upkeep plus 5 would ruin us, though, because we're kind of an expansive empire. So maybe not. But here's the Senate floor where you can see, if I go over here, let me unpause at normal speed. Open up the Senate floor. You can see that the votes are going back and forth. Those opposed, those against, and then those abstaining at the moment. We haven't voted either way. Which one is this one? This is the buzzword one with the hilarious description. Buzzword standardization. We have to enable our enterprises to work seamlessly with one another, streamlining strategic communications empowers our agents, making hitting key performance metrics easier. Okay, sure. The details on this are as follows. Diplomatic weight from economy plus 20%. Your trade value goes up, which I'm not really benefiting a lot from trade. I put a couple of trade ports on my space stations, but I haven't been really doubling down on it, and I haven't really curated the relationships with the people around me because the empire that was around me decided to completely flip out, and one of their sub-factions took over the government. So all of my hard work trying to make them an ally just went to crap. And that was the guys that I was at war with earlier. The Confederation of Gur. So, Gur! But you can see they're still, nope, they're new too. So they've just been breaking up into smaller and smaller pieces this entire time. And I invested a lot in trying to make them friends, those jerks. So do we want this to happen? Diplomatic weight from economy. I actually don't really care, so I'm just gonna oppose on that. Or, I'm gonna abstain from that one. But form the Galactic Council. What will this do? Establishes the Galactic Council of 3 members. Members with the powers to push emergency measures, propose sanction resolutions, and denounce. So I'm gonna say yes, because I wanna be part of that and have a little bit more power. I don't know what that does. I've never done this before. This looks pretty cool. Who are the supporters? Damn near everyone. So I'm fairly sure this is actually gonna pass. Yeah, I bet you this passes fairly quickly. I'll go ahead and let it on pause for a minute. So that's what's been going on. And those are new features that are really freaking cool. I think the spy thing is probably my favorite. Secure shipping, yes, trade protection. So I don't have to deal with pirates anymore because my fleet has moved out and they no longer are keeping the peace, in the core worlds over here near Sol and Alpha Centauri, which is where I've had pirate problems, near the capital of all things. So one of the other things that could happen in this, and I hope, this is why I chose the United Nations of Earth as my starting one. One of the things that you could have happen now is that you can have, when the big bad thing, normally this happens towards, your mid-game, mid-in-game of the campaign, happens, whatever it's going to be. One of the big old ancient factions awaken, or, something chaotic happens. You can, through the galactic community, actually end up becoming, if you're strong enough and you can work the politics, the leader that fights against this, right? And then when that crisis is over and they've given you all this power, you can be like, you know what? I'm not just gonna dissolve that power. It's pretty useful. I'm gonna call dibs on it, intergalactic dibs law, and become the Imperium, and make sure that all the local governors now have direct control of their systems. If that sounds sort of familiar, this whole mechanic kind of sounds familiar. And now, toward the end game, you're this giant empire fighting off local rebellions and trying to maintain that power. That's a cool narrative feature that actually changes, how the galaxy works. That's freaking awesome. I can't wait to play with that. I haven't hit it because it's really late game and I've only had access to this for a little while. So I'm trying to get to that point. But even cooler, and I'll put some screenshots here in the video, there are custom ships now for if that scenario happens. I think they look pretty cool. So what else do we got? Well, as I continue to play through this, I haven't unlocked too many of the spy networks, but let's click on these guys, right? These guys are obviously one of the bigger empires. They're kind of boxing us in a bit. I'm not too worried about this little, the Forerunners. That's actually an unawakened group, isn't it? Yeah, overwhelming and dormant at the moment. So hopefully they're just dynamic observers. We'll see what they actually do. But the Unity down here, they've been spreading out like crazy. So you know what we're going to want to do? We're going to want to... the relationship currently is cordial. We have 50% intel with them. Now, there's a few ways we can gather intel. I'm going to build a spy network there. So if I click build spy network, I can choose one of my agents. Some already doing other things, and you have a limited number of these. We could... we'll just send over one here. Head on over. You can see what the other ones are doing. Like Galactic Community, one of my agents are actually representing our interest in the Galactic Community right now, so you're using those. Now, when we first started, we only had 3 of them. I actually don't know how I got the extras. I wonder if it's based on just empire scale, or maybe there's certain buildings that I've built. I am currently running... Oh, I know how I got them. I'm running an edict right now because of new research. The Bureau of Espionage, which gave me an extra invoice. So there's where I got at least one of them. That's quite cool. So I'm running that just to gather more intel because I wanted to play around with this new system. But let's go ahead and build a spy network. Let's find out what the Oaklar Unity is up to. Build spy network. We'll send Juan over to check it out. So now with the spy network set up, I can go to espionage. And what are our chances? Hard difficulty. That's better than the hell difficulty it's been giving me. crashed in earlier missions. And now I can send you out on a job. So, requires infiltration level to be 10 or higher. So actually I can't do this yet. Not until our infiltration gets higher. Our spy network is building up. I will speed up time here so we can get this all the way across. We have one in our war. I can clear that out. So there it is, building up our spy network. And there's research and things to modify this, but it's quite cool. I don't know what's going on with this. I keep getting founder species on the slave market, but I don't know how to stop it or even turn off that indicator. So it's been popping up like crazy. At first I was just like, well, that's not good. Humans are being sold to enslavement alien races. Screw that. And I bought them all. And I started running out of money. So maybe not the best option. Look at that. It keeps going and going. I'm sure there's a button to turn it off. I have no idea how to do it though. So where are we at? We're at 10 now. I can click this and I can launch an operation to start gathering intelligence. It'll cost us upkeep of 4 at a 400 and it'll start giving us intel. I say launch it. Let's start gathering a little bit of intel. Maybe we can find out what their military level looks like, because right now our intel on that is low. Maybe they've expanded really fast and they haven't built up their military capability.
Knowledge is the key to the universe.
Knowledge is the key to the universe. You don't say. Give me code breaking. That's one of the new researchers do. +2 to code breaking. The weakest link in any security system are the individuals within it. By modeling their weaknesses into the computer simulations, we can find novel ways to bypass their security. Oh, wait. This means that we can hack faster? Oh, I haven't. That's awesome. Okay, yeah, no, do that one. Means that that's probably extra intelligence, I imagine. One of them I got was like secure encryption, but that seems to be the reverse of it. Pretty sweet. What do we got? Espionage event pending. Mission accomplished. Our operatives have completed their information gathering operation and have sent a dossier detailing their findings. Excellent. Mission accomplished. What does it do? Let's see. United Nations of Earth gets 5 intel on the target. Now that that's popped up and it was successful, we can click them again. And we can continue if we want. We could send another. Now, I wonder if we allow this to build up for a while, if it will increase our chance to be successful here. What I want to get is enough intelligence to see what their intel, what their military is up to. Because, as I said before, and if we continue this, where's that? I blew up all their fleets, didn't I? I can't actually see what the makeup of this enemy fleet is here. We do not have enough intel to know their ship design. So you're not just given that automatically just because they're in sensor range. You actually have to like get a spy on board and find out what they're up to. And I think that's the feature that I'm most excited for, is the ability to spy on enemies or allies and see what they're doing. So there's a lot of other features for the expansion. I think that one's my most favorite. And then maybe this new potential to become this Imperium sounds epic. There's a couple other things that they've added with this expansion. They've got something called the Star Eater. I'll put it on screen now that you could build. It does exactly what you think it does. You can make a ship that just consumes stars. And through the intel system, you can actually push the scenarios, like the big bad, whatever crisis is. You can push those into a direction. So yes, there's like fighting the crisis and stopping it, but say you have a really great intelligence network, you can buy yourself time and direct the crisis to go fight your enemies and the ones that you find the biggest threat until you have a way of dealing with the problem. A whole new way of messing around with the crisis, which is pretty cool. All right, ladies and gents, this is just a quick look at the new expansion Nemesis. Thank you, Paradox, for contacting me and seeing if I wanted to do a sponsorship. You kind of got me back into Stellaris. I'm really excited to play through this and see how the game has changed since last time I've been in. I think I'm going to run through it a few times. If you want to see that, I'll probably be streaming it over on the Twitch side of things. And then maybe we'll do a big community campaign over here on YouTube once I'm more familiar with all the mechanics. Anyways, if you enjoyed the video, hit the thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel for more sci-fi gaming and modding goodness. And as always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.